Hello, my name is Cecilia, and I'm going to be presenting to my sister today. Today, I'm going to be informing you about human trafficking. Being aware of your surroundings to avoid human trafficking. Nowadays, we see human trafficking through social media, Amber Alerts, flyers, word of mouth. It's usually, unfortunately, it's one of the largest second crimes right now after drug trafficking. Human trafficking is the buying and selling of human beings. I learned the importance about human trafficking through the news as well as I did do original research for this speech. Today, I'm going to be informing you about the main purposes of human trafficking: forced sex/prostitution, forced labor, and the harvesting of organs. Let's start by looking at the forced sex of prostitution. Forced sex/prostitution is one of the first things that comes to mind when you think about human trafficking. Victims of sex trafficking can be girls between the ages of 8 and 19 and average at the age between of 12 years old. But any youth under the age of 18 who is involved in commercial sex is a victim of trafficking. Sex trafficking is the enslavement of children and women to perform commercial sex acts with little or no money. Pimps, or the owners of these victims, profit an average of $200,000 per year. That is about $500 to $2,000 per night. Just as important as sex trafficking is, there's also labor trafficking. Labor trafficking is the act of using a person through force, fraud, or involuntary servitude by any means trading human beings for labor. Forced labor is any work that a person is forced to do under a threat of a penalty and for which the person has not offered himself or herself voluntarily. We already hate doing what we don't want to do. Imagine being forced to do it by someone in an act of abuse, which is worse. Child labor is the work that deprives the children of their childhood, their potential, and their dignity, and that's harmful to physical and mental abuse. Being able not to watch Disney Channel, to go out and play, having to do things forced, being abused as it, nobody wants to do that. Or it's also heartbreaking to hear that children of a small age are being raised to be abused and doing things that no one would want to do. Bonded labor is which an individuals are pledged to work for either a moneylender, a landlord, or to repay a debt of a loan, as well as the children to pay off debts of family members, as well as nobody wants to do. Lastly, we're going to discuss organ trafficking. Organ trafficking is when victims are kidnapped and have an organ forcibly removed for trade, usually among a transit person. Victims are tricked into believing they require an operation and go under anesthesia and have organs removed without their knowledge or consent. $200,000 is the cost demand for a single organ on the black market. A kidney is most trafficked organ, ranging between $50,000 to $120,000 just for one kidney. Victims are usually recruited online or in person. They're usually the people who are vulnerable or due to lack of financial stability. We see a lot of movies, for example, if anybody's ever seen the movie Taken, where the father goes out searching for his daughter. Most of the time, they say they have about the first 72 hours to find these victims before that they are at complete loss and sent elsewhere. And it's truly sad that we go through this and we see things like this. I personally don't know anyone within my family or friends that has been human trafficking, but it's not often that you don't go on Instagram and we see people constantly posting about people that are missing or children that are being abused, things that they find. So it's most definitely that we should absolutely be aware of our surroundings to avoid any of these kind of human trafficking. And of course, one of the most important things, if you see something, say something. There's lines to call. Obviously, 911, of course, being first and foremost, but anything else, you always want to be aware and say something. Don't, even if it's something simple as well, just say something because you never know whose life you could be saving. And that is it. Thank you.